Hello, hi, my name's Oly Bliss and this is my channel Bookdraw. For those who don't know, I enjoy making images around queer fiction and exploring different novels. Today I am doing a wrap-up of the stuff that I've read over the summer period, and I better just get straight into it. I haven't read that much, and that's just because I've been enjoying my summer, so apologies, but I do want to share with you the ones which I have read because they have been absolutely amazing. I've enjoyed these books in particular so much. I think some of these reads have been my favourites for the year, definitely. Starting with Call Me By Your Name by André Aciman. I friggin' love this book so much. This book was introduced to me by 7 Days Lost at Sea, I think his name is. He's actually finished doing his channel, but he still continues over on Goodreads. I will add a description below. And he was doing a group read. At the time, this had hadn't been done as a reprint, and to get it over from the States would have cost me loads of money, so I had to wait until it was re-released, because it's literally just going to be turned into a movie which is coming out on the 26th of October. I have been clawing at the bit waiting for this movie to come out, because I think this is a slight obsession for me now. This book is all about obsession. So the two characters on here, Elio and Oliver, basically focuses on Elio's crush on Oliver. He is a young, I think he's 15 in this, man who sees Oliver, who's 24, who's incredibly confident and a bit arrogant and a bit dismissive of the place that he's in. He's basically staying at his parents' country house where they're all kind of doctors and writers, and they're helping him with his manuscript. And as that academic son, he's a little bit isolated from those academics, but he's still a part of it in terms of he's grown up around this world of academia. So he's able to articulate himself incredibly well, and it almost gives you an excuse for him to have this level of insight into what he's thinking and feeling that you don't experience through something like a YA novel. You don't go into the depth of insight of understanding why a person is feeling those feelings for the first time, whereas this character, you're allowed to know exactly what he's thinking and feeling, and he goes into tremendous detail about it, to the point where you're like, that's a bit too much. It's so truthful and it's so familiar to those kind of first deep crushes where you really experience love to a heightened level because it's so new and so fantastic. And it's not love, it's lust predominantly, but it takes you on that journey, and it takes you on that feeling of just wanting that person completely and wholly, and wanting to share every moment with them. And if they're not giving you their full attention, you're left wondering why, and you want it now. It felt very familiar to some of my experiences growing up. And it is laced in there in terms of, at the time when it's been written, how, because of the age difference and the fact that Oliver is kind of working with the parents, and the fact that it's a relationship between two men, it's this forbidden relationship. And that adds to the level of intensity and desire that is pushing the need for them to get together. I loved it. I loved it so much. It's so rich and so vivid. You totally felt everything, absolutely everything, all the way through. And what I also liked about this is it continued. It didn't just end at that crux of when they were together. You got to see the lives afterwards. But I don't want to go too far into that. It wasn't what I was expecting as a story. I thought I'd just be like, meh, whatever. But I was so sold by this, and I am so excited for the film to be released. I just cannot wait. I encourage everyone to read this. This is everything in terms of a good book that is going to capture you and take you with you. The next one is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which is by Becky Albertalli. This was really cool. I mean, when you compare this to this, they're just not in the same league with each other. I mean, this is like this, but like when you are at school. So, and I guess because I'm kind of a bit further on, that I identified more with this one because it was also kind of reflective, whereas this you are living it in the moment more. But this is still a brilliant story. This is really good fun. I mean, I've heard this one around on YouTube a lot already, and I'm like really late to join the party on this one. Basically, it's about Simon who forms a relationship online with this other person, this mysterious person called Blue. However, this other character, Marty, he spots and overlooks that he's having this correspondence, and it basically goes through a process of blackmailing Simon, otherwise he's basically going to out him. And it also looks at general friendships and the consequences of either isolating or excluding your peers for different reasons, and how you will always have stuff that's going on in your life, but you're not necessarily fully aware of what's happening in other people's lives. And it's interesting because the author is a child psychiatrist, and you can totally see that in reading this. And that might be because my mum is an educational psychologist, that I kind of recognise that in the way in which this is written, and I don't know what that kind of says about me or my mum. I did see how like the influence of the writer's background informing the contents of this book, and I think it's actually a really good guide to teenage relationships and things that you should be mindful of with your friends, and how you should treat them and look out for each other. As just a general kind of don't be an idiot, think about other people around you, and you will have better relationships with each other. In general, it was just a fun little high school drama novel, but with some really cool undercurrent messaging about relationships underneath. The third one is Tin Man by Sarah Winman. And I don't have a copy of it right now because I left it on holiday and my sister collected it for me, and she is sending it to me in the post. So it's here. It might be here. No, it will be here. It's here. The Tin Man, it's the first book that's actually made me cry. Like, I don't normally kind of get really, really emotional to that point of tears, but with fiction. But this one actually made me blub. I was reading it on the way out on holiday. I'm going to put it down to an excuse of being a bit tired maybe, but there was just this one core bit which really caught me and cut me up, and I was basically at that stage when you're about to exit the aeroplane and you know everyone's getting up, and like tears were just like coming out from nowhere, and like I didn't really grasp what was happening to me. I was just like, why is this book doing this to me? And I don't want to spoil it for people, but basically it was around the dynamics of the relationships that were happening in there and how they were reflecting on those. I will do like a more in-depth review on it, but I found it a really enjoyable read. It's only like 200 pages long, less than. And I think the main themes of the story are about memory and grief, but also about authenticity and value, because I think the Tin Man is describing something that's traditionally common but then holds its own sense of value within it. But the things that I really struggled with that particular book were, it doesn't have quotation marks, which as someone who's dyslexic finds massively frustrating and very difficult to read. It travels back and forth in time, and I didn't feel like I was fully signposted through that, so I felt like I was trying to keep up with the book, and you did have to pay attention throughout its reading. But as a short read, I mean, I did read it like on my flight over and I was done, and I would recommend just trying to do it in one reading, but you just have to be in a position where you can concentrate and focus and enjoy it as though you're watching a movie, and then you'll be fine. But because of the way it does go back and forward in time, the placement isn't provided for you, and I think you are supposed to be pulled into the past and you are supposed to be pulled forward because of the things that they're talking about in the present trigger these memories. Stylistically, I really enjoyed that. For me personally, I've read other books which have done it a bit better. Like for me, my favourite personal book is Fucking Martin, which I have talked about a little bit before. I will do a full review on it later. I'm kind of saving it. But that kind of deals with time in a very different way. I do believe you need good signposting in that a book that does that. And for me, this book wasn't holding my hand enough, basically. I needed a little bit more of a steer. It is dealing with grief and it is reflective. I think it's supposed to make you feel that disconnect from reality and that disconnect from your own memories about what is truly real, what truly happened, what is authentic. And it all links into a flavour and a sense of what this book is trying to achieve. But those were the only three. I mean, I did read The End of June, but I'm doing a whole thing with Bookie Laura later, so I don't want to go into that. So I'm glad to also have just read that book and be done with that book, because it's felt like that has been going on for a long time. While I was on holiday, I was just busy catching up with friends and having more of a rest. I took a ton of books and I just didn't touch them. Anyway, so that's my wrap up from the last month. I will see you guys again soon. Okay, take care.